to self-publish or not to self-publish. Hi guys, my name is Vivien Reis and I want to help you write, publish, and market your novel. I decided to self-publish my novel almost 4 years ago, but I know a lot of you are still on the fence about whether to pursue traditional publishing or not, so I hope this video helps you. I'll be going over the pros first and then the cons. So if you hear a pro for indie publishing, by the way, I'm going to say indie, self, or independent publishing, and you're like, yeah, but traditional publishing, just wait to see if I've addressed it in the cons section. So let's jump in. Starting with the pros. Number 1, higher royalty rates. It's simple. The numbers are better with independent publishing. Per book, you'll never get the same amount if you go with a publishing company. Depending on the type of indie publishing you go with, you can get royalties as high as nearly 70%. That's pretty nice. Number 2, everything is on your terms. Cover design, formatting, what's on the back of the book. You get to decide exactly what everything looks like, which rarely happens in the traditional publishing world. From what I hear, you're pretty lucky if you get a say. Number 3, deadlines are your own. There's no rushing the muse to meet a deadline unless you set one for yourself. Deadlines can easily lead to burnout. I've experienced it. I'm sure all of you have experienced it, especially when you have the stress of a signed legal document looming over your head. With indie publishing, you go at your own pace. Number 4, you choose when to publish. There's no waiting if you choose. If you want to write and publish a novel in 4 months and you're able to do that, you can. If you want to wait and rapid release 3 novels in a series back to back, you can. There's no being forced to wait 3 years for your novel to see the printed page. Did I say that right? I just go like, unless that's what you want, of course. Number 5, you can write what you like. Traditional publishing often constrains a writer to a certain genre, and if you'd like to genre bend or combine multiple genres, you totally can. You may have a hard time finding a company to publish for you if you want to go the traditional route. This is especially true for niche genres, which can do really, really well in the indie world. Number 6, you don't have to write what you don't want to. Meaning, if you signed a book deal, but you're not feeling the second book right now, you're kind of stuck legally. When you're self-published, you can write what you want, when you want. If you want to jump to another series because you're feeling that a little more, you can do that. Number 7, no querying. You don't have to find an agent or a publisher. This can take weeks, months, years, and can be one of the biggest roadblocks to seeing your novel in print. With indie publishing, you can skip this step altogether and not worry about the rejections slowing you down. It's also nice not to worry about the rejection. Number 8, it's yours. All of the rights to your works remain yours. If you wish to publish an audiobook or branch out into a translated version of your book, you can, and you don't need to worry about the legalities. We've all heard horror stories in the traditional publishing world of a company going under or simply deciding not to publish a novel after years of waiting on the author's part. Any number of things could go wrong, and retaining the rights to your work means you won't fall victim to any of those things. There are still shady things in the indie world, but that's not what we're talking about. Number 9, you will never take a back seat. Traditional publishers are juggling many authors and books at any one time, and if a novel is expected to outperform yours, you may end up feeling a little neglected. And since you no longer own the rights, you can't really do anything about it. As the writer and publisher, you're always number 1. Last up, number 10, the feeling of accomplishment. It's an amazing thing to see your book in print. It's also an amazing thing to know you did every little thing to get it there. All right, and we're on to the cons. Number 1, there is more to it than writing. There's marketing, which is huge. Finding editors, cover designers, actually getting the cover designed and knowing whether or not it's a good cover. There's something to be said for having a team of people that will help you out so you can continue writing. Number 2, it is never ending. Once you publish one novel, you have to juggle marketing that novel while writing your next novel. And the more you publish, the more marketing you have to juggle while trying to continue to write. At some point, you may hopefully be able to bring someone on just to handle the marketing side, but for now, get used to juggling. Number 3, you're missing out on the networking. Big publishing companies have been in the business a while, and they may know the right people if, say, you want to shop your book's TV rights or sell the book rights in German. Not to mention, if you're doing well as an author, the publishing company will likely pay for you to attend book signings, events, conferences, and when they host their own social events. That's a pretty nice perk. Number 4, it takes an investment. Publishing a book is not free. You may be able to cut corners before you comment down below. Here and there, or you barter for cheaper services, but producing a quality book takes money. Marketing that book takes money. If you have a book deal, you don't have to worry about providing any of those costs up front. Getting the book publication ready is on the publisher. For a lot of people, having to make that investment themselves can be a deal breaker. Number 5, finding freelancers can be hit or miss. See my storytime video after I published The Elysian Prophecy. I had a proofreader booked months in advance, I think like 6 months in advance, who dropped out the week before my deadline with them and a month before my publication date. That was stressful, and following that, I had to rush to find another proofreader that was not that thorough. When you don't personally know someone, it can be difficult to find a random freelancer to work with and trust. Number 6, brick and mortars are harder to get into. Seeing your book in a bookstore is a dream that many of us writers have, and publishing companies are well equipped to get your book there. While it's not impossible to do as an indie author, it can be much more difficult, especially since there's still a bit of a stigma, which is number 7. There's a stigma. With influencers you want to contact for marketing purposes, like booktubers or readers on Instagram, many specifically say they don't work with indie publishers. Also, the general population may wonder why you published yourself and you weren't good enough for a real publisher. You will have awkward conversations like that, which leads to number 8, anyone can self-publish. That stigma lingers in part because anyone can self-publish, which means there's a lot of unpolished novels put out there to wade through, which makes it harder for you to get your book noticed among the thousands of other indie authors publishing in your genre. Number 9, volume is sometimes better than high royalty rates. A publishing company may be able to move more books than you would by yourself, which can offset the smaller royalty rates you may be getting. Since they can widely distribute to brick and mortars and maybe even create an audiobook version of your novel, which you won't have to pay for, they are expensive unless you do share. Anyway, that's another topic. You may be able to move enough units to make up for those smaller royalty rates. Number 10 on the cons list, if it flops, it's your fault. Since it's all you, it's all on you. If your book isn't doing well, it could be an issue with the story, your cover might not be attractive, your marketing may not be good, there might be too many typos, whatever the cause, you can't blame someone else. Well, you sorta can, like if your proofreader wasn't that good. But then it's still your fault because you hired them. But you get my meaning here, you kinda can't hide. All right, that's all I have for today. I hope this was entertaining and perhaps enlightening. Let me know if you have any other video topics you would like for me to cover. Drop a comment down below. These videos are for you. Feel free to check out my free novella or my Writerly Patreon page. Both are linked down below. I'll see you next week when I'll be going over how to make your author website with Wix. Hint, it's super easy. Until then, happy writing.